Hey everyone, Sal here with a quick guide on how to get some early charms for your build. If you just want to go charms, or if the other two classes don't necessarily appeal to you, you can use this method to get some charms early on, be that in the campaign or throughout maps. The strategy is pretty basic, so I'll just run through it here very quickly. This is going to depend slightly on your level. So for example, if I go to Act 9 here, to Blood Aqueduct, there's not going to be an entrance to the Viridian Wildwood spawning here. But if I go over to Desecrated Chambers, there will be. So keep in mind that if you want to do this at a certain level, you might want to do that earlier in the campaign rather than later, because you might not have access to the level of area that you're trying to target. And I'll explain why that's relevant in a minute here. So first of all, you step in here, you pretty much run it as normal, but ideally in a lower level zone in order to kind of put a cap on how much damage is needed or how much damage the enemies are outputting. So in this instance, again, I'm after charms, so good example here, follow the blue wisps, pick up as many of them as you can. I know roughly where the Huntress is now, so I can run around here and collect as many as I can, watching out for enemies, but again, lower level area than anywhere in maps, and I don't have any map modifiers or anything like that to worry about, so collect what you can and then head over to the Huntress, and she sells charms, of course. In this case, I can't buy them both, so I'm going to look at, first of all, if either of them have mods I want. In this case, not particularly, but if I were to think about it for a second, I guess either of these could be pretty good. Crit multi per power charge, potentially really good for a power charge stacking build. Oops. Otherwise, the crit chance if you haven't crit recently is good for traps and things like that. So normally she sells more than two, so I might be able to buy this one and another one. And they're both Corvine charms, so nothing to worry about there. So I suppose I'll just pick this one since I think I'm a little more likely to use it if it comes down to that. And then I'll leave, come over to the waypoint here, reset the zone. Again, pretty basic there. You would just go in again, you run around real quick. If you don't find the NPC you're after, then you just leave and reset by running around, running out of time in the Wildwood, and then leaving through the portal, reset at the waypoint again. Now, that's pretty basic. Like, you can do that in maps as well if you're after some higher level things. But charms in particular, I noticed, have pretty low level requirements on some really good mods. So you can use that to your advantage by doing this at a lower level, potentially limiting the pool of mods that you can get, and also potentially getting something fairly early into the campaign. So for example, I'm looking to roll a minion build now. This mod, while there are at least 5 nearby allies, you and nearby allies have Onslaught. That's really good for minion builds, of course. So I wanted to get this mod. It's only got 1 tier and it's pretty powerful, but it has a surprisingly low item level requirement of, I believe, 40. So you could grab one of these fairly early on, assuming you can tackle the Wildwood decently well at that level. Now, you want to buy charms even of the type you aren't going to be using, because pretty much everywhere, for pretty much every item type, I should say, in the game, there's a recipe referred to as the 5-to-1 recipe. If you trade 5 of an item of a particular base type, you'll get an unidentified one of the same base type, with the average item level of the ones you're trading in. So I have these 5 charms here. They're all lupine charms. They're all item level 65. So I will get a blue lupine charm item level 65. So what that means is, if none of the charms in the shop are ones you want to prioritize buying the type that you want primarily, and then the cheapest ones, so that you have more chances to reroll them, because since they can't be modified, this is effectively one of the only ways to reroll charms. And then keep in mind that these are all effectively dual attribute in a sense, in that there will be 3 classes that each charm can pull from. So lupine charms can pull stats from any of the dexterity-oriented classes. So Slayer, Ranger, or Shadow. Had to remember the name. Ursine charms will be... Wait, did I say Slayer before? I meant Duelist. Marauder and Templar will be the Ursine charm. So in my case, I was after the Onslaught mod here, which is from the Guardian. So I was looking for Ursine charms or Corvine charms. So something to keep in mind there. Hopping over to PoEDB now, I will link this page down in the comments and description as well. We can see all of the mods here and the weighting for them. So this is a popular data mining site. We can see the mods, what they are, and the item level requirement. So 242 mods in total, it looks like. And this is sorted highest to lowest by level. And if we scroll down a little bit, the zone I was running was level 65. So I can get any mod from here down. And if we look at the Onslaught mod, that requires level 45. So some decent mods in this range that might be applicable to your character. There's even a couple here for like mana reservation efficiency. Slayer's Calling Strike could be decent depending on the build. Things like that. Especially the ones that are more binary in their effect. So for example, Champion's banner skills have no reservation. There's no better version of that. So if you want this, it's going to be easier to farm it at a low level because you don't have higher level mods in the pool. What I mean by that is, if you're not familiar with the weighting system, basically each mod that you add to the pool makes all the other existing mods less likely. So if you specifically want the Onslaught mod or the Banner mod, to use those as examples, it is beneficial to be as low item level as possible without going under the required level, of course. So for example, there's a few thousand weighting on dexterity charms here that would be contributed to the pool of potential mods that will muddy up your chances to get the banner mod. Just a couple of examples there. So you can take a look at this site yourself and kind of see whether or not this is worth doing if you have a particular build in mind and need some kind of effect from your charms, or want even. So again, I just noticed this. I wanted the Onslaught charm, formulated a way to go for it, and the strategy seemed to work pretty well. I wasn't seeing a trader in every zone, let alone the Huntress in particular, but it took me, I think, about an hour to get the charm I wanted. I do think I got fairly lucky, but I saw close to 20 charms in that time. Also keep an eye out for unique enemies. You can kill those for charms or tinctures sometimes. You can potentially utilize this for tinctures as well. There's another page here for tinctures, and again, we can sort by level. Unfortunately, for this strategy at least, some of the mods are higher level requirement. There aren't as many binary effects when it comes to tinctures, so it's mostly about doing higher level maps for these and getting as good a one as you can find, because the mods all scale decently well, which is not the same for charms necessarily. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you're playing solo self-found, I hope this helps you out like it did me. And thanks for watching, and good luck out there. See you next time. Peace.